Dominator. Welcome. This is the one and only Dominator podcast.
I'm the one and only Dominator!
Welcome to the one and only Dominator, the podcast celebrating 20 years of Dominator's hardcore history. In this podcast series, we talk to representatives of organizations, artists, and the fans. But this time, we're talking to organizations and the artists. Yeah. In the final episode, we go out into the world. In the last and also English episode, as you might have noticed, we talk with international artists about how hardcore has conquered Europe and the international appeal that hardcore and Dominator has throughout the years. First of all, well, some of you might already notice, but this podcast is hosted by Freek van Krijkamp and me, myself, and I, Onno Schram. Just a little reintroduction about ourselves. Onno was raised with the Thunderdome and Nightmare School Diaries back in the days. Smashed his first money at Midtown Utrecht. Played records under the moniker of Mercenary and also hosted Master of Hardcore Radio for 9 years. But who's the guy on my left, actually?
Freek van Krijkamp. I found my home in the hardcore in the early 2000s and pounded out Elite Pauper out of my pen and Nikes in 2018. Then I wrote the biography Drogs Kapot Hard and have been making podcasts for years under the long-running name Black Sheep. But of course, it's not about us. One of today's guests, the underground's gatekeeper and prospect frontman, doesn't really need an introduction. I see you laughing already. He plays industrial and UK-infused hardcore and is the founder of Prospect, the out-of-the-box, no borders, hard electronic label. In the 90s, he used to hide his Gabber CDs from his punker buddies. It doesn't get any more hardcore than this. No?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Oh. We're pleased and proud to introduce Gerrit de Wijk, a.k.a. Thrasher.
Yeah, and sitting on his left-hand side is one of hardcore's biggest names, mainstream, millennium, downtempo. Well, where do we start? And where does it all have to end? He's a DJ, producer, and of course the renowned label Dogfight Records owner. He moved from Italy to Holland to pursue his dream and once thought that actually hardcore saved his life. We are more than proud to host him in the final episode of the one and only Dominator Hardcore podcast. Please welcome Filippo Calcagni, a.k.a. Mad Dog.
Ciao, belli.
Gentlemen, welcome to the podcast, actually. We gave the both of you a little bit of homework before this episode. We asked you about your first or most precious Dominator memory.
I don't remember getting those questions, man. I'm too old for homework, man.
Too rock and roll for homework, bro.
You start this one, man.
What's your first or most precious memory concerning Dominator?
I have many. I mean, luckily I played probably, 20 editions already. Yeah. So probably the first one, 2007, 8, I don't even remember when. It was like... a crazy period because we were in our peak with the whole Italian artists, the Hardcore Italia team. I remember like playing a main stage with Hardcore Italia guys and then a second set. In a secondary stage with Dominator, that was pretty cool. We had like a lot of hits that period, the mainstream was like on the peak, And then of course, 2017 when I closed with my album and the anthem. Mm-hmm. And even last year was pretty nice when I started playing and then the storm came. Yeah. And then I had to finish my sets in the middle. Great memories. I mean, it's Dominator, it's like we are all waiting for that event at the end.
Now it's 20 years already. Now we look to your side.
Yeah, this gave me time to think when my first one was. Yeah. I think I played Dominator probably, 10 times or something, roughly. I don't know. Yeah, something like that. I remember the first time, because for me, like most of these events, my first Dominator was the first time I ever went to Dominator. I've never been as a visitor or anything before, And I think the first time was probably 2010 or 2009 maybe. I'm not sure, man.
I think 2010.
2010, yeah. It was about that time when Prospect by accident, it started, of course, more hard drum and bass. Yeah. And Then, of course, from the start, we were kind of like bringing in the hardcore, but it was more coming from the drum and bass side. And then I remember also with the launch of Prospect Extreme, it became really a thing in hardcore. And then you had that kind of, I hate the term crossbreed, you know, I don't think it sounds fucking dumb. But yeah, that is what people were calling it. So that thing became a hype. And I remember the first Dominator, me and Limax actually playing it. It was the Hong Kong Violence stage, or was it even called that back then?
Yeah,
I think so.
Definitely.
Anyway, yeah. And it was just a quick in and out because I had another gig. But then the year after I played that bigger stage, there used to be an industrial stage that kind of switched more to up-tempo in the years. And I remember that one was super sick because it was like... the first time was cool as well, of course, but I didn't really experience Dominator. It was an in and out and was drum bass hardcore mix, but then playing like a full force kind of like UK hardcore industrial hardcore set in that big industrial area. It was super sick. I've had some really good times at Dominator in the years. Yeah.
Cool.
Some I don't remember much of, but yeah, I was young, you know.
Your memory is still quite accurate, actually.
Yeah. You said you used to hide your Gabber CDs from your punk friends. What's up with that?
Yeah, because back in the days there were two different scenes, man. Like I came from that whole DIY hardcore punk background and been playing in bands since I was 15. But back then when I was like 15, 16, that was a bit of the time where the hardcore scene became a bit more fucked up, I guess, you know? Because I remember moving back to Holland and getting terrorized by gabbers in my neighborhood, which is hilarious if you think of it like fast forward years later. You're actually playing all these like events, but I got terrorized by kids in.
How old were you?
I was 15, and I think these dudes were like 17, 18. You know, a bit right wing back then. You know, I think even like Thunderdome shirts and stuff like that, which is funny. So yeah, for me, of course.
In hindsight, it's fucking funny, right?
Yeah, of course, it is funny. Like. Life fucks with you, I guess, you know. But I mean, I liked hardcore gabber, you know, and I liked hard drum and bass because they were the two things that had the most of the energy that I knew from hardcore and punk and metal and that, you know. So I definitely dug it, but it was just back then those scenes were so separated, you know. If you're like, I was just this punk skateboard kid, and then you had the bold gabbers. But luckily, of course, in the years, things like, especially now. You know, you see everybody at these kind of raves. That's what I love. You know, the vibe is super good. But yeah, that's why in the beginning I was, you know, it was a bit of a dodgy one. You know, you wouldn't see me at a hardcore rave then. You know, Turns out, looking back, I probably would have enjoyed it. You know, but that's just also my kind of like prejudice toward it.
Fair point.
Yeah,
fair point.
What was it like to live in Italy at that time, around 1995, 96? We had this big Gabber versus the skaters community in youth culture.
It was amazing. Honestly, it was fucking amazing, guys. Yeah? Because we had like different scenes. I mean, the electronic was pretty big. We had like the club scene where they were used to play like progressive and let's say techno and early techno, I said at the beginning. And then we had like illegal rave, but not like are used to be right now. I mean, we were like more in the gabber side. So hardcore and gabber were used to play that like at the illegal rave, and they were like all like full of colors. I mean, the trend was like kind of mimic what was happening in Zurich because it was pretty close to us, you know, and in that
like the street parade.
Exactly, yeah. That was the reference. And yeah, it was nice. We also like did some illegal rave back then. I played some of them. I even played with Marco Cardipone in on one of these. Yeah. And we also had like a FM radio show hosted by Freddie K, which is now pretty popular DJ. And I also had my own radio show over there. I was like you know, spinning tracks, and I was the speaker. We also. I was also like a promoter. Honestly, I started as a promoter, first in the illegal rave, and then I moved to like little clubs. And then after like 2 years, 3 years, we expanded to 4,000 people. Then I lost all my money in 2000, 2001 when we tried to do like a big event and full of Dutch artists, you know, something very big. Then I lost all my money, and then where I decided to switch to Mad Dog and start everything from zero.
Never heard that story.
No? Yeah. I said it like many times.
Did I read somewhere that Gigi Agostino played a role in you moving to Holland because you did a rave?
Definitely not Gigi
no?
D'Agostino. Definitely not.
That he also had a rave.
No, that Gigi, when we lost a lot of money at that event, because another promoter did an event with Gigi D'Agostino, which was like a pretty big hype back then. Yeah. And basically 50% went to Gigi D'Agostino, and then the other 50% came to us. But like,
so in hindsight, we have to be thankful for him.
No, fuck
that shit. Thankful for what?
I lost all my money.
That's why you came to Holland.
I was 19, bro. No, definitely not.
What is this? All this trying to make it positive? It's just fuck those guys.
But you were also out there as a promoter. But then that must be quite hard if you want to promote, spread the virus, and then you come up with the idea. Okay, I have to reflect and focus on one particular object, and that will be Mad Dog.
Yeah, it was actually a relief. I was like full of stress. I was too young to deal with all that things, paying people, paying DJs. And I mean, doing an event is a pain in the ass job, it's a big responsibility. It's like a big gamble. And I was too young. I mean, I wanted to travel and live my youth, honestly, because I started when I was 16 DJing, and being a promoter. So honestly, finally, when I was 20, I started my own project, Mad Dog, but I also started to live a little bit my own life as a guy, as a normal guy. So now it was a relief, better, yeah.
And how does that reflect on a statement we came across when we were preparing for this interview, that hardcore saved your life? Do you?
No, well, when I say that,
we
said
the actual quote was
cringe thing.
Thunderdome changed my life. That's what.
Thunder don't change my life.
Yeah, that's what
Thunder don't change my life. Yeah. That's true, because when I was 16, it was like Thunderdome '96 in Antwerp, and I went there. So that was my first huge Dutch rave festival, call it that you want it, my first Thunderdome. And then is where I really decided to, start being a promoter and a DJ and a producer. So everything started. That's why it changed my life, or not saved my life. That's for sure.
I'll take the blame.
That's for sure.
I'll take the blame for this one.
Again, making it way too pretty. But that I get, because that was the first time you really experienced it. Yeah.
Everything. I was so young. I mean, I remember a lot of things like drugs and great DJs. I remember PCP playing, Dark River playing, when the music was still different from DJ. And it was in our gold period, probably, for hardcore. And everything was so huge. But then when I played a year later at Rivers or Thunderdome last year, I thought, oh God, this is it? It was so small?
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that I was very small back then. Yeah. And when I released my latest album, Downtempo, on the cover,
I actually have it over here, so we can show it.
I found like a picture of myself when I was at that event.
Oh.
So basically, this one over here, it's me at Thunderdome '96.
Wow.
Okay, that's sick.
Which is this one with the long hair. Yeah.
Wow.
I found it was like.
Oh,
sick.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. No one knows.
That's good.
I thought you were going to say I'm the guy on the front.
Yeah, that's what I was.
No. I was I'm the guy in the front. That would be
and
cool.
if you want to buy it, we'll discuss this EP later on, by the way. But okay, cool. Filippo, you of course, reinvented yourself once again with the Downtempo project,
which I have to admit is a killer record, and I don't say that a lot.
Thank you so much.
I will give you the credits. Yeah.
I actually talked to quite a lot of guys around that time when it dropped, and everybody was like, "Ooh, there's something coming up again."
You know why?
Everybody.
I'm going to jump in, and then he can say, because it was proof of, fuck this shit, you can do something different.
No, honestly, it was just for myself. I mean, it was not proving to other people or anything. I mean, it was just the music that I wanted to do. because in that period was like COVID, and I would just wanted to please myself. I mean, after all these years, I had period when I was younger that the main goal was to please someone else, like maybe the label manager, maybe the crowd, maybe your girlfriend. I don't know, and then in that period, I mean, already like probably years before, but like the main goal is to please myself. I mean, I make music for myself, and if I am satisfied with what I'm doing, I release it. Otherwise, it stays in the hard drive, and I don't even like. I also take, in this way, I also takes like complainings or hate or bad or good comments in a different way. When I was younger, clearly, every bad comment was like, "Oh damn, something hard." Now, yeah, that's fine. Just yeah. Yes,
yeah,
fine.
but what I meant was proof for a lot of other artists. I wasn't talking about you there. It was like it was so refreshing for so many people around me. We're talking about this record because it was kind of like, okay, it's different. It's kind of like, it's not following these trends, this and that. And it inspired a lot of people to actually,
Thanks.
I noticed.
Thanks.
That's
Yeah.
what I've heard throughout the years, and you must have got these. You must have gotten these flowers as well. Like, oh wow, man, you re-inspired my
I repeat. I mean, when I wrote that, it was just for myself. The goal was not to inspire anyone.
No, but it
more
must be
than
very.
me.
I can imagine that it's very satisfying that if you try to
yeah,
make music for
satisfying.
yourself,
Yeah,
getting this
yes.
big respect from.
Yeah. Of course, but I know that it lasts for just like small period of time, you know. I mean, they are always like looking for what's next, you know. So I take it like it is. I mean,
But you really wanted to take it to another level. You did these videos. You came up with the performance in the. I think it was the Western Church.
yeah. Was one was here,
here, right?
right
Yeah.
here. Yeah. The live act. Yeah. Also, that one was like proving myself that I could able to play live. Something that I had in mind since years. And
That was peak COVID at that time.
Still COVID, COVID. Yeah. I honestly have to say that somehow I miss those periods. I mean, of course, gigs were important, but having like full week or month or even a year for tracks, because like some of the tracks that are in the album are made like in years, because that's my method. I mean, I sometimes speak with people. This track in 2 days or 1 day. So, yeah, I can hear that. You know, I'm still like spending months and years in my song, because I mean I have like a very different background. I mean, because I'm coming from the track some days where like we had a label manager, which was a very pain in the ass, but in the end was like in the right way. I mean, everything had to be like consistent and, you know, something good, you know.
Yeah, but
I mean,
even that
music is something serious. It's not
course.
something like just to release because you have to do some videos on TikTok or because you have to being like on stage. Like, it is something serious, and I still take it very seriously. So that's why I'm a very slow producer.
Yeah, but
Next
you know
time.
what it is? Bottom line is that, and this is the last compliment I'm giving you. I'm going to talk shit about you afterwards. I'm going to talk shit about you afterwards. That doesn't happen a lot, but that record already has proven to have a way longer shelf life than a lot of other stuff. You know what I mean? It's been out for a while, but it's still a relevant record. That doesn't happen a lot anymore. And that's why it's important to actually make good music still. People fucking forget that. Talking about the COVID time, I love that time too when it comes to the music. Totally. Because that was the time where also on Prospect, we released so many fucking great records because they were not made just to please the fucking dance floor. They were listen to like Dolphins albums. They're like a whole fucking story that goes everywhere, you know, like
The ebbs and flows.
yeah, you know, but that is because it was that COVID time where it's like I was telling everyone, just go weirder. And it's
More time for introspection as well, maybe?
and telling a fucking story and not being scared you're not gonna get enough gigs because you need your hit on Spotify every month.
But honestly, that's completely right. And also, I think if you think about it, probably it was also the same way producers were used to make music 20 years ago. I mean, if you think about Marco Cardipane, I mean, Mark was like closing his own studio for weeks and months, but releasing the entire catalog for his own labels, you know, in just, you know, in time. And also promo. I mean, when he did all his whole promo file, the beginning, he had 0 gig because the movement was completely gone. So you had more time to focus and just focus on your music without thinking, oh, I have to prepare my set, I have to, you know, take a flight, or, you know, just
Promote it
one
on social.
tunnel vision, you know. I mean, tunnel vision it's important when you do music, you know,
Yeah.
if you want to deliver something solid. Nowadays, of course, there are many gigs, many things, many distractions, and clearly there is also the social media game that for some it's important, and they of course deliver even like full albums, calling like just for that kind of part of the job. You can like it or not, but there are many songs and that are just
You have
made for
songs
that.
now that are fucking 2 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like seriously.
And it's called an extended mix with 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
That's to please the algorithm.
Yeah.
That's it.
When we're talking about focus and doing a lot of different things, I think you mastered doing a lot of things in the same day, because you're a label owner, you have the agency, you produce, you do a million things. How do you juggle everything you do?
I don't. That's why my life's one giant mess.
Yeah.
We're trying too well for this.
Yeah, like seriously, what am I gonna say?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, it's hard work, of course. It's way too hard work. Luckily, I'm not. I don't mind working hard when I love. When it's what I love. Yeah, I'm probably a workaholic, so I don't have to deal with normal life stuff. You know, like
So you don't
kind
have
of
to.
like. It's my way of like.
Keeping the demons out.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, it's a lot of juggling. But of course, I do have people, you know, working for me, like the agency. I'm doing almost more the management role, but I'm not chasing the gigs or anything. I have agents, 2 agents work for that to do that. But yeah, the label, of course, I do. Yeah, of course, everything I release, I mean, I have somebody that I have 2 people that filter the demos for me.
You won't like that. You won't like that.
That really
Maybe that's a
depresses
good
me
one.
if I would like. Plus, I don't do it. I'm not going to listen to demos all day. But I I do have 1 or 2 people that I trust that will filter them, and if there's a gem in there, because you do have to look still at young talent sometimes. You know, otherwise you're just going to be an old person's home label. You know, like if every producer on the label's 50 plus, which it all, you know. But you need, and it's also not good for the scene, because you need to also give young talent the idea that there is actually a way to infiltrate or get your music heard or actually play. So I'm trying to kind of like focus more and also now looking at new things. But I do like, in the end, I sign. I mean, I have to really like it, so I will sign a release. And once that's happening, I'm full force still a Nazi when it comes to it. Every part of that route, I'm of course on top of it, you know. But yeah, no, it's a lot of work, of course, doing the events also and everything. But also that's changed. Like now, it's mostly like label nights and hostings where, you know, an organization will take care of the rest. You know, it's just I take care of the lineup and all that stuff. But it's not like I financially have risks or anything. And I love to do it like that. But like also like with Dominator, you know, to have that prospect stage there is killer. You know, it's super fun for me to do these kind of things because I know it will be organized well. It's going to be sick. You know, they support it with me being able to put down a massive industrial lineup, which I think is the first time in years that Dominator has a proper industrial area again, you know. I mean, that kind of stuff is cool. And the label nights all around the world, I'll do the lineups, but I only work with organizations that I trust, that I know that can, you know, represent the brand properly. You know, it's not like I'll just give my name to anybody, you know.
Can you tell something more about the process of being a host at a festival like Dominator? I think it's the first time, right? Like
Dominator's first time because they never did stages hosted by others.
Prospect.
No.
At what time does the preparation start? When does the first signal come? Like, hey, Garrett.
Mark, I bless Mark. He called me, I think, was it October or something?
Oh, last year already.
October, yeah. It's come earlier and earlier, these things. I think in October or something, and then we already we had a really cool talk about it, and of course I was totally down with doing that. And then some business side things were discussed. Then we had like a promotional kind of talk, or how to like, you know, what Prospect could do also from my side to kind of like help promote this. And in December, I think, and I think the lineup was all confirmed around January, I think. Yeah. There's of course some, but actually I'll have to admit with Dominator it went very easy. Like, you know, of course we do hostings on a lot of different festivals with Prospect. We have like in the summer always a lot of stages, but it's a lot of different festivals, not only hardcore, but also drum-based festivals or even punk festivals will have a Prospect stage, you know. But with Dominator this went super easy. Like I literally gave him my plan and they said yes straight away.
Okay, cool.
He actually even mentioned, oh, this is like my dream lineup. I'm not kidding. So that was actually very easy, because sometimes it's like, yeah, but they want to like fresh new lineup with fresh artists. But then bottom line, oh, but I'm missing this and this and this guy who are all like 50 plus. You know, I'm not naming names of festivals, but you know, it happens and I get it. You know, because in a way,
it's a balance, right?
It's finding the balance, you know. But I think I'm super excited about the lineup of the Prospect area Dominator. It's goes all over the place. It's really, I would rave there. Yeah.
You would rave there?
Yeah, totally.
Nicely, man.
If I was a raver.
I think it's a very cool concept this year.
Yeah.
Which
It's
is honestly
really great,
the first concept they had. The first Dominator was like that.
Yeah.
I really think it's going to be like probably the biggest edition we ever had.
I think so too.
But I mean, not just because I want to push Dominator brand, which is a cool brand anyway, that they don't need my push, but for real, this year is going to be a sick one. Like having like Thunderdome and all the other areas all together, it's sick, bro, it's sick. And
Unique. To be honest, like these areas all together is pretty
I think
crazy.
that the only thing that, from my perspective, the only thing that we are really missing right now, it's like a good quantity of music, from my perspective. New good music, like a new wave of music, you know? I mean, because these are our wonderful brands, but somehow I miss, you know, more, you know, something cooler than what we have right now, from my perspective.
Yeah.
Which artists do you...
I agree, of course.
I want to discuss 2008. It was your first Dominator, and I think you've never left anymore, like you already said. I think I played it 20 times already or so.
Maybe 20 now, but maybe 19 or 18 times. Yeah.
Easy to count, 2008, 2025.
Yeah, and there were some missing. Some missing.
I know.
If you'd have to describe one moment in your career around that time, what would be the iconic milestone that made you go up and beyond?
First Nightmare in Rotterdam, Ahoy.
Uh-huh.
Because I mean, I went on stage with like quite a big amount of big songs. Because in that period, I did like Welcome Downs, Dangerous, the Nightmare Anthem,
Disorder,
and Disorder. I mean, I had all those tracks, and I mean, I really went on stage with weapons.
Yeah.
Something that sometimes nowadays it's very difficult to have, you know. So that's why I was pretty enthusiastic about it. Thunderdome, that was like really the a dream come true.
Mm-hmm.
And Masters, which came a little bit later. And these were like, but I don't know. These are gigs. I don't know. I mean, these are great things to remember, but in the end, are just gigs. I don't know what I remember the most are the time in studio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the legacy of your music. From the studio.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking to myself, what would be the defining moment? I do remember that Nasty was sent out to some DJs, and it was like everywhere, like five.
No, the thing that I really remember that, because I mean, my first big track that I released was probably Welcome Down. Yeah, that was the big hit. But And before that track, I released songs, of course, but in my opinion, shitty songs. You know, I mean, no one noticed. Of course, the movement was smaller, but I really remember that period when I spent like 4 weeks, an entire month only on the kick drum, analog 909 Mackie, and still remembered all those days, you know, in loop. And from those days, I made it out with a welcome down kick drum, which is like a pretty good kick drum nowadays still.
It's still a massive one. Yeah.
And that was really a change, a turning point. You know, better than any event. It was like I clearly remember myself in studio say, now we are here. I mean, now I can make it. Now I can control my skills and my machine to translate what I have inside or in my mind in music.
And you felt confident enough, like,
yes.
Okay, I'm going. This is a lasting one.
Yeah, because my career is pretty strange. I mean, before that time, all my music was, in my opinion, very bad. I mean, very horrible music. So? Yeah, I really don't like this. I would love to trash all those songs before.
Well, I have a question. I'm going to jump in. Is that the songs were not good, or are you talking about your production level?
No, I think that I know now what was. I was trying to mimic and to follow the big hits. I was trying to mimic neophyte records or evil activities. I mean, and the goal was not to express yourself. The goal was to mimic and reach those kind of. I want to make a hit. Yeah. And that's why I started to make those songs that are now popular when I quit. In that period, I had 1 year when I decided to quit and to start as a sound designing school in Milano. And I was like, during the days I was at school studying, and at night I was making songs for myself to please myself again. And that's where I understand, that's the trick. The trick is not to follow the trends or to mimic neophyte. How can you mimic Jeroen at that time? You are a kid of like 20 years with zero skills, so you want to mimic Jeroen? I mean, forget about it. Or promo.
But you had Max as well. That was also insane.
Yeah.
But this is like this. Everybody needs to listen to. This is exactly what it is.
Yeah.
You know, this is the whole point. Then I also understand what you're saying. It's not about the production thing. It's like it wasn't you. Yeah, and when you start being you, and you make something that you like, you're gonna love it way more yourself because it is you, and you're bringing something to the table that's not like, you know, sounding like that person. No, this is Mad Dog.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point.
And then you're proud of it.
Yeah.
That's
the point.
Is that something that might happen more in the underground? I introduced you as being the underground's gatekeeper, and I know you kind of hate being...
Okay, I'm like... Okay, let's just say this, like, okay, I know what I come from, I know what I love. And that underdog position, you might say, oh, it's underground, oh, it's this and that. It also is a luxury position. You know, it's nice, it's when you're like the underdog, or when you're in that, you don't really have to prove, you don't have to like, no, there's more eyes on him than on all the fucking prospect roster. You know what I mean? No, but it's true. Like, I mean, there's big tunes that are made, but the freedom of being that kind of, we're not main stage artists, you know, and we're comfortable in that.
It comes with a certain pressure
area there, and that freedom is very okay. Maybe the bank account's smaller, but the freedom is also worth a lot. You know what I mean? And when you have less to prove, you know, like if, 100%. Yeah, you know. So I mean, I admire, like, honestly, I'm not going to name him because. No, but he
got all the flowers.
No. But seriously, like Stefan and Vitro, he's one of my best friends, like I'm closer. The music he makes now, of course, is not my thing, but I respect him as he's a great human, and also what he does really well. But it's totally, of course, not my piece of cake. But who cares? It's not catered for me, you know. It's catered for those people. But the pressure, I am definitely not jealous of, because I can imagine having, when you're like, he had a top 40 song. Like seriously, when
Yes,
you're like
with Slaughterhouse
that
last year.
fucks
Yeah.
with your head, of course.
Yeah.
That fucks with your head because like
Totally different
if
kind
you
of
have
stress.
like I know this.
You
Sorry,
played
I'm,
it on Verknipt last weekend, right?
and I'm gonna be honest. Like I don't know if he wants me to tell you guys, but fuck it. Like when you get to the point where you become stressed or insecure about your music just because you have 5,000 likes less on that post,
Oh yeah.
you know?
You're very fragile.
Yeah, but that's intense. So, like in a way, you can say, okay, we're on the ground because we, like, me and all the guys on Prospect, we work our asses off too, and we love the shit we do. But that pressure we don't have, of course. You know, it's like, you know, like I know what I want to make, and that's not mainstream stuff. That also is good because I couldn't even be able to make that mainstream stuff because it feels like everything's under the fucking loop there, you know? And I don't know. So it's all got its things, I guess.
Yeah, no, but I have to say that I grew up in that state of mind, like on being like on a big competition, like deliver that kind certain songs, big anthems. I mean, the rule when I started to making tracks was like A1, big hit. B2, you can
Okay-ish.
experiment, you know?
Yeah.
But like A1 and B1 has to be like solid song,
solid.
and you have to deliver, otherwise you don't release it. So I grew up since day one with that kind of thing. But I also have to say one thing, that these kind of artists, the mainstream artists, and I'm one of them, they all have been kind of also protected also by Q Dance, IDT, Most Wanted, the Art of Dance. Some of them, including myself, we had period where we're not on top of the game probably, and we didn't release probably enough music, but they put us anyway on stage, main time, peak time, you know, and giving us the opportunity to perform and to be like on stage, even if we were not like on top of that year, you know. So we can't. Is it true what you are saying? But it's also true that we were protected somehow.
Yeah, but saying that though, no, yeah, totally. I get what you're saying.
You can
know?
also consider it to be loyal to your artist, right?
Yeah, and that's what you were protected. But trust me, I also protect mine because
sure.
well,
I
you
guess,
know,
yeah.
the last couple of years, industrial had a
100%.
very tough time, and it's going better now. Really, you know, we're building it again. But in that tough time, I can say one thing: my people still had gigs because Prospect was the brand that still everybody wanted. So through the Prospect label nights and everything, and of course, that's a smaller, you know, I'm not talking 20,000 people, but we're still talking a few thousand people.
but still.
They still had their gigs because
You still think
we
that
are the
it's a
family.
job and you can deliver,
Yeah,
of
you
course,
know,
definitely.
but that, you know, you still, of course, because it's blood in, blood out. You have to support each other. You have to support your artists also through the darker times.
Especially in the darker times.
You know?
Especially. But being under a loop and having the focus, how does it work when you're producing an anthem? That must even bring more. Well, I'm going to let you say this.
No, that's a big challenge. But I repeat, I had a great school. I mean, in tracks from those days, competing. The competition in those days was a very good competition because we were competing between producers. I mean, my competition was to make a better track than Amnesis or Dominator or Art of Fighters. That was the challenge, you know. You did this. You did Twisted War. You did Revolution. Okay, now I make this. You know, that was the
Like
challenge.
in a positive way.
In a
Of
positive
course, that's
way.
the best fucking way.
That's the move.
And we were young. I mean, I was like 17, 18, 19, 20. And, you know, I mean, so I really grew up with that kind of mindset. And that's why when I do anthems, I still have it. But I miss like that kind of competitions too. So like, I would love to have like Art of Fighters or Amnesis or, you know, Tommy Knocker, like back in the game at that level, because, you know, sometimes I receive compliments, you know, like, oh, you did a great album. Like downtempo that you just said. But yeah, of course. But imagine if we had like people like those kind of producers.
To bounce off to.
I mean, probably I was like the last of the list. You know.
You invited Christian, Art of Fighters, to the stage last weekend on Master of Hardcore. Is that one of the? Yeah, is that a new form of positive competition coming back for you? Or?
I hope. I hope. I'm trying to push all my old friends somehow if I can. But we are doing like a big event in Italy.
Yeah, Hardcore Italia.
Hardcore Italia is like we are going back to Apollo Sports. It's for like 5,000 people. It's like a big thing, and I hope that kind of event will not just sell out because we need to sell out, but because those kind of events then brings positive things like new kids or new producers, everything. And so we did this Anthem together, and it's 100% millennium mainstream, in my opinion. And they like that on Saturday, and they screamed the vocals already. Okay, easy vocals, but they screamed the vocals.
That's also millennium.
That's millennium, you know. And the process was nice to make tracks with him again after, I don't know, 12 years probably. Yeah. So, yeah, it's nice.
You also had a share in the new millennium party, like.
Yeah, but that's you know, I've been of course now with kind of managing Yappo and everything. They threw me actually under the bus here because all of a sudden I was helping them with the new millennium thing. Yeah, but this was a kind of like a little showcase, but it was super cool. It was actually really cool, and it was kind of like going to be the launch of their new label. Yeah, kind of like the label, you know, launching the new millennium thing. Of course, they're Italians. I'm not talking. They're fucking slow. So, of course, the first release should have been there already at that new millennium party. It wasn't. But let's see it as a good
tryout. Not all the Italians are the
same. I know, man. Not all the Italians are the same.
Bro. I know them pretty well.
So yeah, if they would ever watch this, wish they wouldn't get your fucking shit together, guys. No, but it was a super cool thing, and for me, it's also I love fun projects. You know, of course, you know, people see me from a certain angle, or like that. Nobody think that I stand for a certain sound, which is very broad, I think, anyway. But you know, like when I look at like even the term mainstream is very complicated for me, because if I look what was mainstream for me is actually the millennium sound.
Yeah, mainstream is ever evolving.
Yeah, you know, and that was shit that I actually dug, and that's what people sometimes think I'm only into the crazy shit, but actually I just love good tunes. And that night, I have to admit, I actually really enjoyed a lot of the stuff I was hearing again. For me, it was actually, this is hardcore for me. Like, this is mainstream hardcore for me. Like, the stuff I won't run away from, you know, or like I don't want to stick forks in my ears, you know. It was super cool, yeah.
Because compared to what is nowadays hardcore, it's
I have to admit, that's not really what is considered mainstream these days. No, don't wake me up for that, you know. Or give me a Valium just to get through it, maybe. You know?
I think we don't want to have the continuous complaints about being too positive on this side of the
No. But you know what it is? It's
we've been briefed.
To each his own. To each his own. And also, as I said, like even like, you know, like up tempo. It's not made for me. Don't forget that, you know, when you're like a kid, you don't want to fucking listen to the music your parents
we're fucking
like.
old, right?
Yeah.
You know, and I'm fucking 40 plus. It's not made for me, so who am I to complain about it?
Of course, every generation.
I just hope it's a gateway
heroes.
drug. You know, they would like, oh, but wait a second, there's more better shit. Buy Prospect Records instead. You know.
There he goes. If we're nearing, I think we're a bit nearing the end of the podcast. You've been at Dominator since 2008. You 2010. How have you seen it evolve and grow into what it is now? Because I think it started off with 10K people, and now we're up to 60, 70, 60, 80.
Yeah, in terms of production, it's crazy. It's bigger, way bigger. And
And it also has a
it.
certain international appeal, because I think
Of course it is.
Yeah.
And that's a cool factor in my opinion. I mean, like when you go to Dominator, you have probably they told me once the percentage, but it's pretty high. Like I don't want to say something like it's very high. A lot of
higher than you think.
Is
higher
it like
than-
50 or 60% abroad?
it's nearing 50.
Yeah, it's
I
nearing
think.
50, right? Yeah.
Which is impressive for a hardcore festival, as
definitely.
hardcore is seen
Yeah.
as a Dutch thing a lot as
But
well.
hardcore is very big.
And we both live.
Yeah, I know.
And Dominator is the party of the year, of
Yeah.
the summer at least, together with Thunderdome. And you have a lot of Italians and people from Spain and from all over the world. And that's very, very, very phenomenal. Imagine, I mean, again, 20 years, guys. I mean, there are other events that they closed. I mean, they were pretty big, you know, some
I
big
remember.
indoor events.
Yeah.
And now they closed, so we are still going on. And yeah, congratulations to the team.
But it was also the time when you started to see these international flags on the dance floor as well.
Yeah.
Especially when you came up like 2008, 2009. And
Yeah.
when they started to go to the
Yeah, that's a consequence of that's a consequence of like being more mainstream. You know, you grow
No,
up.
it's a
or-
nationalistic thing.
That's the period. Here we go. That's the wrong period, bro.
No, so I think actually, because that's the only thing, I think people should show up at Akira's shows now finally with the North Korean flag for him. No, really, why does he get
Let's
like...
do this year.
should do that this year.
yeah.
Anybody going to Dominator
Yeah,
this
we'll
year,
support you.
Akira, bring a North Korean flag.
But the thing is, because we both live in Amsterdam, I recognize it when there is a Dominator weekend, because there are a lot of Italians, there are a lot of German people.
That's why I remember home.
Yeah.
Where stay home.
yeah.
No, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's full. Amsterdam is full of Italians and from Spain.
But it is the most like not like wanting to should have to be politically correct here, right? Because I do partnerships with a lot of festivals. Fuck, can I say this? No, I am going to say
do
this.
it, bro.
I am going to say, of course I am. Okay, no, so Dominator, of course, when it comes to hardcore festivals in Holland, is the number one.
Not allowed to do that.
You know? No, but of course it is, you know, because I don't mean it's shitty, but DEF CON is more a hardstyle festival.
You mentioned
But maybe I do mean
they
it
don't
shitty.
sell they don't sell DEF CON as a hardcore event. They
I
sell
know,
DEF CON
exactly.
as a hard
yeah.
dance.
they
And
don't call it the
Dominator.
hardcore festival.
This is
for
the
nothing.
hardcore festival.
Yeah,
number
but
one,
it
of
is,
course.
you know, totally. So that totally makes sense. It's the same. It's kind of like, in a way, the Thunderdome of festivals.
Yeah.
I think you should see it that way, right?
No, absolutely. Yeah.
Can I get a raise now on my budget?
I knew something would come up.
No, but that's serious. And I can say that coming more from the outsider side, it's a fact. And you're talking about Amsterdam, fuck it, even in Rotterdam, Dominator weekend, there's a gazillion.
Utrecht is also
fucking
big.
tourists.
When, they're all
You know?
over.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I
like-
love that.
Same as Thunderdome in December. It's the
of
July
course.
weekend in
But it's
Amsterdam.
beautiful because I mean I was one of them. I mean I
Yeah.
remember when I was used to come to Thunderdome or Speed Racer back then or like, Digital Overdose, and that's nice. That's probably one of the best moments of the event. Beside the event, and then when you go with your friend to the coffee
Tension
shop,
builds, you know?
tension
Yeah.
build. That's super nice. I mean, now I'm too old, but like I'm.
Does it
Why
make
that?
you proud?
No, of what? Of
You were there, young kid, being in '96, going to Antwerp, and now these young Italian kids are coming to.
I have no time to think about these things.
guess you
when
would
I
say
will
that's it.
retire, probably
Yeah,
I will,
just-
No, but
check
you
all
see-
what I did. Oh, that was cool, but in the end, I don't know.
funny
Now
because
it's time to grind and to deliver stuff.
But you seem to reflect on it in your music. You even call tracks Energy 1996.
Yeah. Because
yeah.
I was at the
Yeah, that was.
yeah.
I do have to ask this question because I know that a lot of people look on Discogs sometimes and they find this record to be worth 500 euros or
Yeah,
so.
I heard that.
Will there ever be a repress of this record?
No, because
Great.
absolutely not.
There you heard it.
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
Okay.
No.
Well,
And I
That's
agree
one
on
for the
that
books.
matter
Yeah.
because that's the people that bought it then.
It's special, bro.
You know?
I will try to make another vinyl and make it special. And,
Yeah.
But I will try. But yeah, I know.
are there
We
more
need another
vinyls coming
COVID.
up from your label? You did two now. right? Yeah.
I don't know. Now I'm focused on the music. Then I think about the vinyls. Yes.
Yeah,
that's not
yeah.
the way,
There will be a product of
That's
your
the
music.
wrong way of
Yeah.
approaching things, you know. But because first I see, is this a good songs to be on vinyl? It's something that I'm very proud of to put it on vinyl or not. Let's see.
And what was it like to find that first Rebirth remix on vinyl?
Yeah, that
That
was
must have
cool.
been a big one, right?
Yeah, that was a big achievement, it honestly was not that difficult to do that track because I mean, you don't have to touch anything on that track, you know. I mean, just make a kick drum that is similar to that one, but like don't touch the classic too much. I mean, I'm from that side of the art. I don't want to completely destroy the classics, but it was like a phenomenal achievement for myself. I mean, I grew up with that track, and the track is going pretty well because there is that magical melodies. I mean, I just did like little parts in the track, you know. I mean, but yeah, it's a cool video. Yeah, we did a cool video, that for sure, and also the track.
I think we're coming to a close now, but
I think so too.
there are just a few, maybe two more questions we really do want to ask because of continuity throughout the series. If you'd attend a festival as a visitor, what would you be looking forward most to for this edition?
Dominator.
Yeah?
Yeah, what am I gonna say here? You know, I'm gonna just sell my fucking brand.
Yeah.
But
Please do.
honestly,
Please do. Good idea.
But honestly, the Prospect stage is gonna be fucking killer.
No,
it is
for
a
real.
killer lineup.
No, it is.
And I mean,
Yeah,
I can go through it. Like, it's not just what I did on purpose. It's just. It's almost a whole spectrum. Okay, I kind of skipped the drum and bass side of it because it's Dominator, it's a hardcore festival, you know. But there's outrageousness. It goes all over the place. We've got like fucking great industrial slow stuff. Also, there's some new guys, you know, like Starving Insect, who released that really cool like book release. Released a poetry book on Prospect.
Yeah.
That's how highbrow we become, you know.
That was sold out as well.
Yeah, but also I have Basek over, which I think is going to destroy people. He's like the best turntablist you will ever see. Pure live artist, mental, you know. He's on Boys Noise Records also. But, you know, like, he's the wildest, fucking craziest motherfucker out there. A really good friend from LA. So I've got like also like him playing, you know. I've got some of these teasers of also just to bring some outrageousness there. And just some great, of course, classic, you know. Also, of course, Manu, who's playing, Hellfish producer, you know. Actually, no, Hellfish is playing. Oh, yeah, he is playing, yeah. No, fuck. I'm getting all confused. They're almost all playing, actually.
It's on Friday
you know?
or Saturday?
Saturday, yeah. No, it's like, me and producer are playing back-to-back, which I love. But it's also, you know, I think almost everybody that at the moment is relevant in the more alternative, industrial, UK, whatever, kind of hardcore, releasing good music at the moment, because that's, of course, what I base it on, is on that stage. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm coming. Yeah,
That was quite a pitch. Okay.
Yeah. Good.
Well, I had to pitch that shit. And if you're not going to be there, you're going to miss out and regret it forever and ever till the end of fucking time, right? And also go check out this guy. So you have to be I'm a nice guy here. I'm a nice guy.
No, I will come because also I think like industrialist like on a race is then probably the next big thing in my opinion. And I'm very curious, bro. I'm coming for real. Because I have to stay there like the entire day, so I'll be
come
there.
hang out.
Yeah.
What
like
time
2
are you
sets.
playing? Oh, you're not allowed to say yet, of course.
Yeah, you're allowed.
Oh yeah.
You're allowed.
Timetable?
We're going to
no.
Oh, we're going to check with the jury.
No. But they're like, they know
He's
that.
closing the main stage, guys.
Didn't you hear?
Oh, damn, I have to prepare.
for another 2 days on Wednesday and Thursday.
No, but
that
honestly, I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be there all day too.
From my side, I mean, I'm playing like main stage and Thunderdome stage, but I will definitely come to your stage because it's very interesting. And I repeat, I think industrial is the new big thing. And
I think
I'm
that's
curious.
good to hear from you.
That actually makes me happy to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
mean, if you check a little bit the scene, if you know how to check the scene, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
The industrial is a new big thing. I mean,
Also from other genres.
and there is also another genre that is probably coming, the new big scene, but I'm not gonna spoiler that thing because I don't want other people know.
But I feel that vibe. Actually, I do feel it. I feel it. I see the interest is coming back, but it's also like if I look at what I have ready for the next half year release-wise is really exciting me. And actually, it's been a bit less exciting for a while. You know, like it was like difficult finding, but like when it comes to the new industrial releases, like alternative hardcore releases, it's good shit, man. And that in the end, the music is still the backbone.
Yeah,
Let's not forget that.
It will always be.
Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that matters. You know, you can market the fuck out of a turd, it's still going to be a turd. But, you know, if the music is good, I honestly believe eventually people will pick up on it.
Definitely. That's the key, bro.
Yeah.
That's always the key. Always been the key since day one.
Yeah.
Is there anything, a part of Prospect you would love to see at Dominator?
I always like to
Rave.
listen to Marco Cardipine, like PCP, for at least like 10-15 minutes, just to listen to Stereo Murder or
Get the
those
feeling.
Experience that from within. Like,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
like
I have to say that now, I mean, since years, I mean, I usually go on stage, like go on 10 minutes before my set, and then I leave immediately. But this is something I experienced during COVID. And right after COVID, I mean, I was actually going to events and to raves and being there till 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the night, and that's something that I'm missing a lot because that's an experience that you still have to do. And this is something I would love to do also on a hardcore festival, but it's like pretty difficult to me to do that,
because of your schedule.
No, not just because of the schedule, also because it's, I don't know.
People want to be around you when you're...
No, I don't know. Probably I just have to do it. Yeah, not overthinking too much.
Because you're so used to it being your fucking job or what you do on the weekends.
Exactly.
I have,
Probably,
I have the fucking problem too. For me to experience like a rave, like really as a music lover, dude, you need to switch.
To remember why you started.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's very important. That's something that we are like close in the office or in studio doing songs for people that actually we go dancing. But where is our experience on the dance floor nowadays? Even like experience the sound system, the wall, like the soup that usually we stay in the backstage. We don't hear shit. We stay in the backstage drinking or smoking.
But
don't even listen to
it
tracks
is
sometimes.
important though. Like,
It is. That's why I'm complaining by myself.
No, but I had it. I think like 2 years ago, because that was a very important moment for me. A super simple thing. There was this prospect in Berlin on Friday, and I remember Somniac One had to play on the Saturday at a techno party, and we were super good friends. So we were like, you know what? She would come a day earlier, so we were both going to be there 2 days. And I ended up not supporting her because I didn't go to her party, because I found out that there was a Metalheads night at Trezor. Metalheads, the legendary jungle drum bass label. I was like, in Trezor? I'm like, what the fuck? And I bought a ticket. I stood in line, like all the normal shit that you never really do. I even felt a sort of like, ooh, what to expect.
Yeah.
Like, and I come in there. No. No, but yeah, almost. But no, but I like what to expect. Like it was a very kind of like when I bought a ticket for something, like it's been ages, and I went in there, and it was fucking the upstairs room in Trezor. The sound system is next level, and I was blown away. Like the audience was the people there were a bit older. I saw quite some people from back in the days. I raved for 7 hours straight. And it's pretty minimalistic, like the old Metalhead stuff. It's like, it's jungle drum and bass. It's not full. There's no drops. It's like a little hi-hat would come in, and it was like you were losing your shit already. You know what I mean? And I was dancing for 7 hours. And that night was so important for me because I fed off of it big time. Like I was like, wow, I experienced like an amazing night that made me enthusiastic for this shit again. And like, you know, you need to do it.
You need to do it. No, I mean, I did that right after COVID. Like I was used to go to H7, for instance, or all these clubs here in Amsterdam. I did some Verknipt, of course, and Ziggo Dome, of course. And then my gigs started again right after COVID, so I couldn't go. But that was very fucking. But even like staying in the middle of the crowd like this, like sardine, you know, that's important. And feeling the low frequencies, which is the subwoofer, which is more physical than, you know. Sometimes we're doing tracks that are too complicated because we are not leaving the dance floor.
Yeah. Especially with hardcore, you want to feel
exactly. And that's why
the emotion. I want to feel the emotion.
That's why up-tempo is probably working also, because it's more like physical than.
Yeah, you get hit in the bones.
Yes.
Yeah, in the guts.
Yeah, that's the point.
Yeah,
you know?
Definitely.
Moving.
I think this was it.
Yeah,
That was it. Let's go.
I think this was it.
I think this was it.
The fourth and final episode.
The fourth.
Shit.
Really, the fourth? No. We have to do a third one, so that's actually good.
No, this was it. The final episode.
The final episode of the one and only Dominator. Garrett, Filippo, thank you so much for coming over.
You're welcome.
Enjoy your preparations for
for next
for Dominator.
See you guys on the
Far.
18th and 19th,
And the 19th
of July. Thank you guys.
This was the one and only Dominator podcast. See you at the biggest hardcore gathering in the world on July 18th and 19th.
I'm the one and only